Hey, greetings. Welcome back again with Open Up, myself, Sello Gangnam. Well, this is a safe space. This is a place where we open up to nice memories, hard memories, memories that make us laugh, memories that make us cry. As always, I always start my show with a little quotation. And something that they say about quotations and poetry is that poetry is heightened emotion recollected in tranquility. And some of the sayings and the quotations that come, it's actually people who have sat down and recollected on issues of life in tranquility. And today, our quote is, each new chapter of our lives requests an old part of us to fall and a new part of us to rise. To do that with me today, I've got a beautiful, powerful lady here. She is the president of Africa Gospel Awards, author, philanthropist, CEO of Ncwane Communications, and that, by saying just that, I have opened up the secret who I'm talking to. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me, Ayanda Ncwane. Sabona Siswa.
Wow.
How are you?
Ngiyaphila sawubona nawe.
Thank you for honoring us with your presence.
You know, it's an honor to be here. Ngiyabonga kakhulu for having me.
No, thank you, my sister. Sis Ayanda, you know, one thing that is beautiful is that I like doing is going back to memories of childhood, because those are the moments that makes us.
Oh wow.
You know, it's like, for instance, sometimes when you go and sit in what you call it, a psychologist's chair, the very first question that sometimes they ask you is, how was your childhood? Because it is in your childhood that so much of life impacts on you, and it either makes you the best person that you are, or it makes you the worst person that you are.
Absolutely.
How was your childhood?
Oh my goodness.
Ukhulele. Where were you born?
Ayanda Ncwane, born Ayanda Kumete.
Okay.
My first name is actually Emerald.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to know what mine is? You know
What's your first name?
My first name?
Yes.
Joel. and you can imagine how to nyama, Can you imagine how to nyama maybe Joel.
Joel. You know what I mean?
That's Joel.
Igama lesikole.
I know. Yes, as well.
Yeah, myself and my siblings and my cousins we were raised by our grandmother.
Okay.
Yes, because our mothers obviously were in town trying to make life for us to go to school. Yeah, so I grew up in a deep rural area of Indwete.
Okay.
Indwete is in the north of KZN.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I grew up in the atmosphere of love. When I look at my grandmother today, I look at myself, how each and every day, as you mentioned on that quote, so it literally speaks to me, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my grandmother was a reservoir for the community.
Wow.
Literally, everyone would come to my grandmother for advices. If there's anyone who's giving birth, because the clinic was way too far. And I'm a bus fiyaka twice a day. And that's it.
Right.
Exactly. Morning
Okay.
and afternoon. And that's
Right.
it. So if someone is giving birth during that time, everybody would come to my grandmother. So my home was a reservoir of love and giving.
Wow.
So we grew up in that environment. So I literally, personally, I don't know about my siblings. I grew up knowing that when you are a person of importance, you need to invest in other people.
Wow.
And live for other people.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
and you know, I would imagine, because if a granny's, they're special.
Absolutely.
And their specialness comes with how they raise you and almost even instill a sense of self in you.
Absolutely.
I remember when I was growing, and partly I was raised by my mother was living with my granny. And there was one thing Kokwam used to like saying, you know, when he saw me, and I used to think, well, I am the hottest thing in the world.
You are.
Isn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's a specific scene that comes to mind.
Tell me about it. Well, tell me about it. Well, tell
Like
me about it.
honest.
No, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Obviously, it's the queen.
Okay. And
Yes.
then also,
Yes.
and then that moment
Yes.
when you look at it, I
Yeah.
was thinking I am
You
the
are
hottest.
so hot.
But anyway,
Let's go back to business.
Let's get back to business.
Yeah.
My granny used to
Yeah.
like to say to me, Arjuna Sello. Yeah. Musiman wa Coca-Cola bottle figure. You know, and then now, you know, and now when after hearing that,
Yeah.
oh man,
Kube Coca-Cola.
ngihamba lapha ngiyazizwa ukuthi nginefigure ye-Coca-Cola bottle.
Oh my God.
Share with us your moment.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Not you Coke. Okay. When I grew up,
Yes.
I was really pretty when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother used to say to me,
Yeah.
because she was a part-time Miss Angoma.
Right.
She used to say to me, I shouldn't go out, especially when I actually became a young woman.
Right.
She apparently had this revelation, yokuthi I'll marry a king.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yes. So she kind of like caged me, not caged. Not the
Yeah.
wrong word.
Protected you.
Overprotected me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you.
From school, my brothers had to be there to make sure that I accompany me back from school, because we grew up in an era rather where usiko lokuthwala was a thing.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes.
I hear you.
So I had to be like super protected, because my grandmother always see these dreams or visions that I'll marry like this powerful person, a king.
A king.
So yes. So now that's my
So when you
that's
walk,
my Coca-Cola.
that's your Coca-Cola bottle moment.
Exactly.
Which means with like
Yeah.
Moham, but you both born and you go to
Yes, I had to be safe.
But
Absolutely. And it helped me. It helped me so much, because growing up for me was I didn't carry myself just like any other girl. I think maybe it was her way of instilling that the importance,
a sense
you
of
know,
pride.
sense of pride. You know, you will gaja. Yes, ukuthi ubalulekile. Take good care of
yourself. Yes.
Like, don't just allow anything to you know, your body, everything about you. Like, ubalulekile. So yeah.
So you're growing up in Dohen.
Yeah.
You know, school ulokhuzana uskatele khona.
Ngifunde nje ngaze ngaqeda eNombika High School.
Yeah.
Grade 12 is
Right.
khona. That's when I started modeling.
All right.
Yes, I started modeling. Yeah.
So dreams.
Yeah.
What were your dreams?
So
As, you know, when we're
Yeah.
growing up, I mean, there are images or people that sort of like play out in our lives. You know,
Yes.
what were you having, and you know, people that you sort of idolized or looked up to or
yeah.
inspired you in a certain way?
In our area, I saw the teachers. My dad was also a teacher, a school teacher.
Okay.
One of my aunts was a nurse, but they still lived a life of struggle.
Yeah.
But then there was this house. There was the most beautiful house in the area. Fencing and everything. They had electricity. They were the only ones with electricity. And their children didn't have to go to fetch water from the rivers and stuff like that, just like us. We'll always ask, Gogo, laphana kangidi, kamemngidi. What do they do? And then my grandmother will always say, phela omemngidi bayinto ezithile. So for me, I wanted to be into ethile in life. I didn't know because
Yeah.
nobody knew what they were doing. Only to find out later in years they were entrepreneurs. They were they were very well learned. The whole family. So at that time, the only word on the streets was kangithi bayinto ethile. So for me, bengimona uthisha ngithi okay, I respect the profession, ngiyambona udokotela, ngiyambona, but I want to be into ethile as well.
Yeah.
So
that's what. So
yes,
that's the trajectory that you
exactly.
took.
When I finished matric, I was Miss Ndwedwe and Miss Nombik at that time. I entered Miss Durban. I won. I entered Miss SA 13. I was like, I'm going to Gauteng.
Yeah.
I was in Gauteng when I was 18
Yes.
because I really wanted to be in that healing.
That's it.
Exactly, because there was something, mysterious about this family, something powerful,
Powerful,
something great.
yes.
I wanted to be that thing, not just an ordinary
Person.
person.
Yeah.
I was like, no, hell no.
But you see, like now here, you see, like where Gogo was right.
Absolutely.
Where Gogo was right, because he said, somebody great is going to marry you.
Yeah.
Or a king.
Wow.
A king was going to
Yes.
marry. And you were going to be what?
A queen.
A queen.
Yeah.
And there you had your own series of being queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that impact on you?
Oh, wow.
When it
a
happened.
360 change.
Yes.
Literally. I met my late husband when I was 18.
Right.
In fact, I came to Joburg in February. In August, I met him. Oh, this month.
Wow.
August.
In August. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It was just a week after my birthday. I met him. I was working at the restaurant in Melrose Arc at the
Right.
time, at Moyo's. So, couple of
What was the first word he said?
strange enough.
Yeah.
Well, people who have read my book,
Okay.
they've read about this story.
Okay.
Within the first 5 minutes, he told me that I was going to be his wife.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
yeah, no
Yeah, he
bezizwa.
No, he did.
Yeah.
We
No.
introduced each other like
Yeah.
sharp. Kazana Ayanda njalo, unkosikazi wami. My friend. We literally laughed at him.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Obviously, a part of me was like, okay, bro, from Royal. So
Yeah, I'm supposed to be married to
I'm alright.
queen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, by God's grace,
Yeah.
because God knows your path. The Bible says He's the author and finisher of our lives.
Yeah.
So, literally months later, I was pregnant with our first son. Yeah. Well.
What? Within that time.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. No, he was quick.
Well, yeah. Remember, he told me that I was going to be his wife within
exactly.
5 minutes of our meeting.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know where I come from. Who am I? But he said, when I asked him later, why did you tell me I was going to be your wife? He said,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I knew that I will know my wife the first time I see her. I lay my eyes on her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
here you are, pregnant.
Yes.
You're 18.
Yeah.
How did he behave thereafter? I know it led to marriage.
Yeah.
But like in your memories,
Yeah.
how did he,
He was very scared.
Nah.
Yeah. We were both very, very scared.
Wow. That's very interesting.
Yeah, because he was also coming to Joburg. It was the same year
Yeah.
to pursue his music career.
Right.
Yeah. And he had a very crazy boss. Everybody knows what's up on Zima. Like, S'fiso, ufika nje, usiyangithisa. Yes.
But I must tell you, I mean, the most famous song that I think that made S'fiso to be known,
Yeah.
touched me too. And it was a song that I would play when you're seeking hope
Yeah.
and you're feeling like things are not going anywhere. But when you heard him come up, when you heard him sing,
Yeah.
he just filled you with hope, And I think I'm asking this question, how was he?
Yeah.
But and you say he was fearful.
Yeah. He was very
And
scared.
and one thing I can tell you, I think every young man, and I know, I mean, I was, I think 20, getting into 22 when I pregnated a girl.
Yeah.
And when I heard, it was like, was ganjani?
Wow. Yes.
You know? And but I think the thing that makes you to ask that question, it is the fear.
The fear, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But I think also what is beautiful is how when that happened, because most of the time these days
Yeah.
we have this thing of young girls becoming single parents,
Yeah.
all because young men or men badly pants.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about that?
Well, as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's fear. Fear is the first thing that comes to mind.
Right.
One, because especially in most black communities, because you look at how you grew up,
Right.
and you are thinking now you have brought someone who's going to live the same life that you lived,
Right.
and obviously you were not planning to impregnate someone at that age.
At that age, exactly.
You
Yeah.
understand? So it's a burden, and when there's a burden,
Yeah.
it is more likely to collapse.
Put strain as
To
well,
put
also
strain,
on the
and it
relationship.
makes one of you run away.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So in most cases, the guy runs away because he's scared.
Right, right.
You know. So hence, when you've been through that situation, you have a responsibility, especially if you are raising children.
Right.
Mostly boys. Now I raise boys. My son is 18 now. Yes, he was born 18 years ago.
You know,
So when I was 18, so now I sit down. I sit down with him every time. Say,
Right.
let me tell you something. I'm not bothering you.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that you have a chance to break the chain of your family from your father's side. When I look at the history of your father, your
Right.
grandfather, and your dad, they were very, very easy on impregnating women.
That's it, yeah.
So you have a responsibility
Right. To break the cycle.
break the cycle so that your children and their children will not have to go through what they went
Went
through.
through.
So
And what maybe
if
you ended
can-
up going
yes,
through.
what we ended up going
Going
through as a
through,
family. So my husband has 5 children. Yes, 3 outside the marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, and then 2
Two in-
within the marriage. So I tell my son,
Yeah.
you have that opportunity.
You
Now
know,
we are able to talk because our parents, they didn't have the courage to
Right.
sit with us down and tell us the reality of this life.
Absolutely.
Now we are raising our children in a different environment, in a
Yes.
different era, where we are able to say, listen, if you do 1, 2, 3, these are the
Yeah.
consequences.
Yeah.
How are we going to avoid doing the same mistakes that we did?
I want
Yeah.
to talk seriously on that one.
Yeah.
But, you know, the other day I read a very interesting meme,
Yeah.
you know, but I will go to that serious part.
Yeah.
But this meme was saying the whole thing of contraception is misdirected.
Yeah.
And it's a woman who's talking. Said, as women, we only get pregnant once. And here's this man who can go and sow
5
wild
more-
oats out there. So this whole thing, conception, it's misdirected. People who should be taking contraception
It's
are
actually
not
men.
taught.
Where is that girl? I want to give her a hug. Oh my God.
Isn't that
is-
interesting?
that
Isn't that interesting?
Wow. That is so powerful.
But you know, talking about this,
Yeah.
because you're touching on an aspect
Yeah.
that I personally, I think growing up, I mean, you hear my name is Mark Ekanube.
Yeah.
So it's a double barrel surname. Mark is actually my stepfather.
Oh.
And Ncube, it's my biological father. And the whole thing of not being raised by your own father. You know, even though my stepfather did a good job, I'm what I am today because of him. But then the whole thing of knowing that somehow my father didn't raise me, I then said, as for my children, I'll make sure that I'm there in their lives.
Yeah.
But it only happened when my eldest, who's passed on, may his soul rest in peace.
So.
Yeah, and when my son basically reached the age of 18, that time I've got 4 children with 4 women.
Different.
different women.
I'm not laughing.
No. No, I think we share, you know,
Yeah,
you know, there's a
yeah.
common understanding.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then my daughter tells me, hey, you know that Lizzie has got 4 girlfriends.
Your elder son.
Yeah. And my daughter tells me that he's got 4 girlfriends. And I realize, oh my God. As they say,
Eish.
yeah, pinde. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I called him and I sat him down. And I said, hey, dude, I hear you got 4 girlfriends.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you know, yours no, yours no. And we are actually, and that's another thing, we encourage what? Umsoga, and that is somehow that is fused into our makeup as human beings or as our, in our culture.
Yeah.
But what, the long story short, I made sure, hey, dude, look at ourselves now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, fine. I said my dad was not there, but I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
But here's one big question for you that I want to ask. When you were growing up, because he only came to live with me when he was 13. When you were growing up, didn't you wish that I was always there? You know, majority tears welled up in his eyes. And I said, you see? And I thought I was being better than my father. So what is it that we need to realize, or that we realize that we should do now?
Yeah.
And that is to make sure that when you have a child, as a man, you take responsibility and you stay. Singfuna uyishumayela le nto you know, it is because it's so close to me. But I think the most important thing that you are saying, and which I'm loving, it's the whole thing that we've got to get to a point where we break
Absolutely.
the cycle.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And people who should, and I think as that meme says, or that, you know, saying, you know, men are the ones who's got to make sure that, you know, they exercise some, whatever, contraceptive.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
Oh, it's true. I mean, even though you don't have to go through that route of getting a contraceptive,
Yes.
now information is available
Yes.
better than it was before. There's more awareness about certain things now. Things come up through memes.
Yeah.
Internet is our best friend.
You know.
We have an access every next hour.
Of information.
Of information.
And
so
we are the what?
the excuses
the
that
thumb generation.
Yes, the excuses are becoming lesser and lesser for you to say I did not know. You understand?
Yeah.
Akufani nangaleza ikhathi when ngempela you had no idea whatsoever. Now, before you talk to your children, chances are they know a lot of things when it's to instill what you want them to know. So excuses ngempela, the time for excuses is siyancipha.
Yeah.
Siyancipha. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we are doing this interview, and on this day, as we are doing this interview, Shona Ferguson is being buried. And, you know, the whole thing of power couples is what is doing. And, you know, but also I think, you know, when we're talking about Shona, you know, I was saying that he's the paragon of excellence, you know, and a workaholic. You know, Khalil Gibran says, work is love made visible. And in order to see that somebody has got love, look at them when they work, you know. But you can imagine that what Connie is going through. Your thoughts on that?
When on Sunday, I went to their home and I sat with her down. She said to me, Ayanda, I'm scared. How do you live without your best friend?
Yeah.
I wanted to lie to her and give her verses. What's in the book of Jeremiah says. She didn't need all of that. This week, all she wants is her husband to come back home.
Yeah.
And she wishes to wake up and tell him, or would say, you know, I just had this worst dream ever. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
And you know what is amazing? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, before I left home, I was listening to, I mean, you know, it was playing in the background, but
Yeah.
they actually played out her message. And she said the very same thing that you just said now.
Absolutely.
That, you know, all she wants is her husband
That's what
to
you
come
wish
home.
for. That's
Yeah.
what you wish for. I walked
That
in
this
her,
was like a bad dream.
absolutely. I walked in her shoes. I know exactly what she was feeling. That's why I said, you know what? I just want to hold her and tell her the truth.
Yeah.
This wound, chances are, there will forever be a scar. It's one day it will stop bleeding,
Yeah.
but the pain,
Yeah.
the scar,
Yeah.
it will forever stay there. Especially when you were that close with your husband.
Yeah.
My late husband and I, it was the same similar situation. We were inseparable. And I said to the guys who were outside at her house that, you know, sometimes when you love each other so much, it's actually a blessing and a curse at the same time. It becomes a curse
Because you
when,
almost become one.
yes, it
one
becomes
body.
a curse
Yeah.
when you wake up and you don't even know who to talk to. Because nobody, your parents, your children, no, your friends, your colleagues, nobody comes close to that, you know, figure.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but one thing I know for sure, that there is a God in heaven who never fails, who never makes mistakes. He knows what he's doing. So the journey that God designed for her, for Connie, it ended last week with
Shaw.
Uncle Shaw. So going forward, God knew that there's a new strength reserved for her.
I hear you.
That does not include Uncle Shaw.
Yeah.
You understand? So Lana, we thank God that we have a higher power, you know, that we can depend on.
Yes.
You know, that one of the pastors said, thank God, God is not owned by someone else.
Yeah.
We have a direct access.
Yeah.
When he says in the book of Jeremiah, he is a husband to the widows. He means that. I've seen him becoming my husband in times of need.
Wow.
Because you lost someone that you want. You want to be touched. There are days when you don't want a scripture, you don't want a prayer, you don't want food, you want sex from your husband. Straight up.
You want, yes.
You want someone to kiss you.
Yes.
You miss all those things. You want intimacy from him.
Yes.
And there's nobody to provide that for you.
Yes.
You understand? So for you to be able to overcome those obstacles, those painful episodes.
How did you strive? How did you go through them?
That's what I'm saying. That
Yes.
when he says, I'm a husband to the widows,
Well, yes.
you know, he means it.
Wow.
He means it, because one night you sleep wanting to hold him so tight, ulale namaphilo, and you wake up the next morning, miraculously, you forget, and life goes on.
You know, there's a 12 apostle.
Yeah.
And I used to love their interpretation about heaven. That saying heaven is in your head.
Yeah.
And this is where you create, like heaven and hell are actually in your head. So when you hold people in a high esteem, they go into the heaven of your, of yourself. If you hold them in, got no regard and, they are horrible, then they stay in the hell of your mind. And but here's this other thing, that conversations that you have with your, sometimes we think, do we have different conversations, or do we have similar conversations but that come in different ways? What is your take on that? That even if, for instance, you would want to do something, I'll tell you, this is where I'm going with this, that if you want to do something, and when he was around, you would ask him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you would know somehow who to team. And like even now, even when he's there, he's not there.
Yeah.
If you think about it and reflect to the point the way you say, hey, what would he say?
Yeah.
You actually know, you wouldn't agree with this one.
Absolutely.
Or he would say this in order. Did you find yourself going through that?
Oh, of course. Until this finger is
Yeah.
occupied, he'll always be my reference
Yeah.
in my thoughts whenever I'm about to make a drastic decision in my household.
Right.
Yeah, because running a household is not a child's play. Raising boys is not a child's play. Children
Right.
are not a child's play.
Yes.
Especially if you are used to having a partner, to raise these children with.
To share the responsibility.
Absolutely. So now you always refer to, I know you wouldn't have agreed with this.
Yeah.
So, you try and take the decision yourself, but obviously bearing in mind ukuthi yena ubezofuna ukuthi kwenzeke kanjani. Yeah, like running a business. We ran a very successful empire in communication.
Yeah.
When he passed on, I had to think ukuthi, for me not to fire some of these employees who are depending on these salaries.
Yeah.
What is it that I need to do?
Yeah.
You understand? So I had to apply all those things. I'm not a singer. I cannot take his mic and go on stage.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I knew our plans in our in our future plans.
Right.
We wanted to build something else, and I had to continue there and not stop, so that a part of me will grieve, but and say, but I know he is proud of me.
Yeah.
That gives you some relief.
Yeah.
You know?
They say those who have passed have never ever left. They always live in spirit.
They do. I believe so.
Any advice you can give to black females out there?
Yeah.
About life.
About life. Okay.
Yes.
I think younger females, I would say to them, this flesh is your everything.
Yeah.
God took so much time. The Bible says men were created, a woman was formed.
Yeah.
A woman, according to the Bible, we carried life. We carried Jesus Christ. So this is very important.
Yeah.
Don't play with this. This is so important for you. Wait. It's not going to kill you to wait. A pressure of society and what you see being advertised on social media and everywhere. Zitshele. Tell yourself. Have that sense of pride as a girl up until your blessing comes. Because you don't want to be a 25-year-old who looks like a gogo sis. It is so important. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, women's appearance are everything. I'm going to tell you that. I'm turning 37 next week.
Okay.
Girl, you got to take care of yourself.
Right.
Yes, you are attractive, you're young, you're beautiful. You're not allowing all Tom, Dick, and Harry to come and open your legs. You have that responsibility to take good care of your body.
Yeah.
And then, to those who are about to get married, girl, think, is this what you really want? We live in times where we have an opportunity to make choices.
Right.
Don't allow your parents, families, to put pressure on you to get married.
Yeah.
And those who have decided to get married,
Yeah.
never make a mistake of abandoning outside and enter as umamusilo kaMake kaNcube. Because one day it will come a time when you are 40-something, 50-something, you feel empty. You think it's midlife crisis or whatever. Only to find out when you got married, you came and you abandoned Itumeleng's dreams, visions,
Right.
everything outside, and then you entered into this bubble of the marriage.
Yeah.
And then you fulfilled what uS'fiso Ncwane is all about, and your children. And you will never have a happy life. When you enter into your marriage, enter with your dreams, enter with your goals, enter with your visions, so that you'll be able to make a happy couple, happy marriage, happy family. Because if you are unhappy and unfulfilled, you that is why we told you see some of women who say amadoda izinja. Only to find out ukuthi shame indoda yabantu did not say
don't do this.
Don't do this. But you thought when this narrative from way back, you would say most in shadowing.
Yeah.
So finally behave in general. But
you know there was going on to that, there was there's a saying, I think, but though it isn't speed. And you know, and it says Kharinyala Masadi, Rinyala Sibilibili say. Khayle hlogo yona. Isala ka bommao. You know. Judy masishada umuntu wesifazane.
Yeah.
Sishada nje lo mzimba.
Yeah.
Inhloko. Isala
wow.
Mamak.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is when you go into marriage, go in there with your all. Your dreams.
We really need to relook in some of the proverbs, especially African proverbs.
Exactly, yes.
I mean, some of them I look at them before I apply them.
Yes, I hear you.
It was just that one family or that person who decided who things should be like this.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
They have.
You understand? So, khona ngempela izinto engasebenzeli le generation.
Exactly.
You understand? So,
I mean, at that time, there was no schools.
Absolutely.
At that time, there were no universities.
So, I would say never make a mistake of abandoning that young Itumeleng outside the marriage. Enter with her, with all her dreams and everything, so that you'll flourish within the marriage. We have seen couples who both came together with their own things and becoming power couple. You cannot become a power couple if one of you is empty. And
so, which means at the end of the day, when you go into there, you know, like even when you go into the space of making a baby,
yeah,
you come with your half.
Absolutely.
You know, because you know the sperm and the egg basically hold half whatever chromosomes. Is what they call them, chromosomes.
Yes,
you know, it's what 23 and 23. And which means that your combination, as you combine physically, also combine spiritually and intellectually.
Absolutely, yeah.
Uthanda impahla.
Oh, really?
What's your inspiration?
I didn't know that.
Your inspiration? Look at you. Look, you know, like money bag. I mean, I don't know. You know, in pringing. You know what I mean? I mean, was you know when we were growing up, to my faggy pringing, it was like, hey, you know, whatever. But yes.
Yeah. Well.
Where did that inspiration? I mean, Lemakaya, we focus to our Talk to me.
By the way,
all right.
By the way, you'll be shocked.
Okay.
Because in Vunulo, that is, for me, traditional attires and regalias are actually,
yeah,
that is where the inspiration comes from, of fashion around the world. You understand? So on Saturdays, let's say in campus in Mondweni, or we're going to whatever that is going on.
Yes.
Putting together all those different colors everywhere around your body, making yourself looking gorgeous as itchy. So that's dressing up. Okay, now that's dressing up. No, that's dressing up.
Okay.
From head to toe, you need to look the best.
Right.
Your hand is dressed. Your hair, your legs, everywhere. So I grew up loving looking good.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
But and also the other thing, I mean, I think what you are saying is that these things you didn't just pick them up.
Yeah.
It's all about really dressing up and making sure.
And manners. For me, dressing sharp and looking amazing at all times. It's that's how I introduce myself.
What does the future hold for us? Give us a sneak preview of what's coming.
A lot of things. There's a lot of changes. I'm in a phase of transitioning a lot in my life.
Right.
It's been 5 years since my husband passed away. I'm looking forward to have a man in my life. Yes.
Okay.
Praise God.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Let me get. This is very interesting for me. This is very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
I don't know whether I'm going to be revealing a secret by
Yes.
asking you this, but are you sure you're going to make sure? How are you going to make an assessment for yourself, for that one person
That one person.
who would now you would say, hey,
Because
etc.
I'm a Christian, so we have different beliefs. In
Right.
2018, that was the year I knew in my spirit
Yeah.
that I'm going to get married again. And I started sowing a seed for my husband that I've not met yet.
Yeah.
I've sown a seed spiritually, which is prayer,
Right.
and seed, which is I invest a lot in people's marriages, yeah, by means of those in need, because I know what it entails for you to have a successful marriage, especially in the days when the kingdom of darkness is hitting hard, attacking marriages. So I again want to have a healthy, successful marriage. So I've since 2018 I've started sowing the seed
Right.
for my next husband. Yeah.
If you had
So that's
one,
how I won't be able to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had one chance
Yeah.
to rectify your mistakes,
Yeah. Whew.
what mistakes
Yeah.
what mistakes would you want to rectify?
It will definitely be becoming too kind. Yeah. I've opened the doors to so many people, very wrong people,
Wow.
because of kindness. Kindness is good, but kindness can kill you.
Yeah.
My mother said to me one day, "Yabona inhliziyo yakhe enhle uyokubulala one day." You know, so I become so kind, knowingly or unknowingly.
Yeah.
Kuyazenzakalela. You know, and sometimes I've been burnt a couple of times
Right, right.
because of my kindness.
Wow.
If I were to change, unfortunately, something that is a character of yours, you can't change it.
I know.
It's impossible.
In a way, you don't get to suffer like Mama. I suffer that.
It's impossible.
I suffer that.
Ngiyayithatha i-decision ngithi uba ngiyangiphinde ngithi umuntu nje angiphinde ngisize umuntu umuntu ayibona senze njani.
Yeah.
But
Once
when
they
I come
come.
across a situation where another person, be it a stranger, be it someone I know, is in need of help,
Okay.
so yeah.
3 words to describe your life.
Oh my goodness, my life or myself?
Your life.
My life.
What are the 3 things that almost stand central in your life? And you can't do anything without them.
Wow. Okay.
I'll tell you what I've identified.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, I think mostly God, it's,
Yeah.
you are broadening it up. I would maybe specifically say my Christianity.
Right.
Yeah. Because everybody loves God, but
Yeah.
I'm very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know where I stand.
Right.
With loving God. I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Yes. I think God made me a ladder. I call myself a ladder because I all my victories, when I look at them, all of them is when I've assisted someone,
Yeah.
or I'm there for someone. That is where God lifts me up.
Wow.
So I'm a ladder. Yes, I'll call myself
The last one.
the last one. Whew.
We'll leave it there. But I'll tell you
Let's
what.
leave it
I'll
there.
tell
Oh my gosh.
you know what?
Yes.
I'll tell you out of my observation.
Yeah.
Kindness.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
there you have it. That's what we call opening up. Ayanda, thank you very much for joining us, my sister.
Ngiyabonga
Thank you for
kakhulu.
honoring us with your time.
Thank you.
Hope to see you next time.
I cannot wait.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Well, this is me, S'fiso Ncwane, saying toodaloo.